I spent years believing I wasn't built for anything important because I was too quiet. I thought all the people who changed the world were the ones who commanded rooms, gave inspiring speeches, networked effortlessly at every event. The extroverts seemed to have this secret manual for success that I'd never received. Late at night, I'd scroll through success stories and think, of course, they made it. Look how confident they are, how easily they take up space. I felt like I was watching life from the sidelines, convinced that my preference for listening over speaking meant I'd never matter. Then something shifted when I started learning about the people who actually changed the world. And I realized I'd been told the wrong story entirely. What I discovered in those quiet moments of research changed everything I believed about what it means to be enough. It started with a question that kept me up at night. Why did all the successful people I read about seem so loud? I was tired of feeling like an outsider in my own life, so I decided to dig deeper. That's when I stumbled across something that made me pause. J.K. Rowling didn't write Harry Potter in bustling networking events or crowded co-working spaces. She wrote it in quiet cafes because she couldn't afford heating in her apartment. It wasn't about networking or making small talk. It was about finding a peaceful corner where her quiet mind could create magic. This wasn't the story I'd been told about how success happens, but that was just the beginning of what I discovered. I learned that Rosa Parks wasn't just someone who happened to refuse to give up her seat one day. She spent decades as a quiet activist, listening deeply to her community, understanding the struggles in ways that only patient observers can. Her lifelong practice of quiet activism and careful attention prepared her for that one pivotal moment that changed history forever. It wasn't spontaneous courage. It was the result of years of thoughtful, intentional preparation that happened away from the spotlight. Then there was Einstein, who I'd somehow imagined as this gregarious genius holding court in lecture halls. But the truth was, he was considered a late bloomer who preferred solitude to social gatherings. His greatest insights, the ones that revolutionized our understanding of the universe, came in quiet moments of deep thinking. He needed space to let his mind wander, to make connections that others missed because they were too busy talking to really think. And Bill Gates, who I'd assumed succeeded through powerful presentations and charismatic leadership. Instead, I discovered he chose emails over phone calls, written communication over face-to-face meetings. What everyone called a quirk was actually a superpower that changed how the entire world communicates. His preference for thoughtful, written exchanges over quick verbal responses wasn't holding him back. It was propelling him forward. With each discovery, I felt something shifting inside me. These weren't exceptions to some rule about needing to be loud to succeed. They were revealing a pattern I'd never been taught to recognize. There was Einstein working alone in his study, making discoveries that loud, collaborative meetings never could have produced. There was Rowling in her quiet corner, creating a world that would touch millions of hearts. There was Parks, listening and learning for decades before making the move that changed everything. Each story felt like getting permission to be exactly who I already was. I started to see that quiet minds often notice what loud ones miss because they're too busy listening to themselves. While others were talking, these quiet giants were observing, processing, creating connections that changed the world. The more I learned, the more I realized that my quietness wasn't a limitation to overcome. It was a different kind of strength the world desperately needed. These people didn't succeed despite being quiet. They succeeded because they embraced what their quiet nature gave them: deep thinking, careful listening, thoughtful responses, the ability to see patterns others missed. They turned their introversion into their greatest asset. And suddenly, I understood that the world doesn't need more loud voices. It needs more people willing to think deeply and act thoughtfully. Your quiet nature isn't holding you back from greatness. It might be exactly what the world needs right now. These weren't quiet people who succeeded. despite their introversion. They succeeded because of it. While others are rushing to speak, you're taking time to truly understand. While others are networking frantically, you're building deeper, more meaningful connections. While others are reacting quickly, you're responding thoughtfully. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is think deeply, work steadily, and trust that your quiet contribution matters more than you know. You don't need to become louder to become more valuable. You need to become more confident in the unique gifts that your quiet mind brings to this noisy world. You're not too little for this world. You're not missing some essential piece that would make you successful enough. You're exactly enough right now, with your preference for listening over speaking, for depth over breadth, for quality over quantity. And if you're watching this, maybe you're part of a community of quiet souls who are learning to see their introversion as the gift it really is. You're exactly enough. Thanks for being here. I hope this helped, even in some small way. If it did, maybe stay with me a little longer. This next video might help even more.